Today, we're diving into the concept of monitoring spirits, which many describe as entities that observe individuals to hinder or sabotage their progress. Could you break down what these spirits are and how they typically manifest in people's lives?
Absolutely. Monitoring spirits are believed to take on various forms, sometimes people, animals, or even invisible presences. Their role is to gather information about a person's actions or intentions, often for extended periods, in order to frustrate their goals. For example, someone might feel watched or repeatedly encounter setbacks just as they're about to achieve something meaningful.
That's fascinating. So, these manifestations aren't limited to the supernatural? How do people differentiate between ordinary challenges and what's considered interference from monitoring spirits?
Great question. While natural obstacles are part of life, a hallmark of monitoring spirits is recurring patterns of failure or stagnation, especially when these setbacks seem unexplainably consistent. Imagine preparing thoroughly for an opportunity, only to face inexplicable delays or closed doors time and again. This cyclical frustration is often attributed to monitoring spirits.
Building on that, let's discuss familiar spirits, a specific type of monitoring spirit. How do familiar spirits differ? And what unique patterns do they introduce into people's lives?
Familiar spirits are considered to have long-standing ties to individuals or even entire bloodlines. They often manifest as recurring personalities or relationships. For instance, someone might repeatedly befriend or date individuals who share almost identical traits, regardless of where or when they meet them, almost like living through a repeating cycle.
That repetitive pattern sounds quite unsettling. Are there any psychological explanations for this, or is it viewed purely as a spiritual phenomenon?
While psychology might attribute such cycles to subconscious behavior patterns or unresolved issues, from a spiritual perspective, these recurrences are seen as orchestrated by familiar spirits, aiming to block personal or spiritual growth. The key distinction is the persistent, uncanny similarity across different life stages or settings.
Let's shift to a common misconception: blaming people who seem to act as agents of these spirits. How should one view those individuals, especially from a faith-based perspective?
That's crucial to address. Many spiritual teachings, especially Christian doctrine, emphasize that our struggle isn't against flesh and blood, meaning people themselves aren't the true adversaries. Instead, it's the underlying spiritual forces at play. Ephesians 6:12 highlights this, urging believers to respond with compassion rather than anger.
So, the recommended approach is to separate the person from the spirit influencing them. How do believers typically respond in practical terms?
Believers are encouraged to pray both for the individuals and against the spiritual influences. This dual approach fosters empathy, reducing interpersonal conflict, while still addressing the perceived root cause through spiritual practices like prayer, fasting, and communal support.
To make this more relatable, could you share a personal or hypothetical scenario illustrating how someone identifies and confronts familiar spirits in their life?
Certainly. Take my experience. I noticed a pattern of forming friendships or partnerships with people who, despite seeming different at first, consistently brought similar challenges into my life. After reflection and prayer, I recognized this as a potential sign of a familiar spirit at work.
That self-awareness is powerful. What practical steps can someone take once they suspect such patterns, beyond just recognizing them?
Beyond awareness, the next steps include intentional prayer for discernment and deliverance, seeking wise counsel, and even keeping a journal to track recurring patterns. Some also recommend breaking negative cycles through acts of faith, such as fasting or seeking accountability within a faith community. Research suggests that communal practices can reduce feelings of isolation and reinforce positive change.